15th November, okay. 15th. See, it's it's a very small lecture. We will complete this, and once we are completing this, we will do examination question. Okay, we'll do one full question paper. We'll do. Okay, how much within the time frame. Okay. Now, what is the procedures for the cash as such? As that, what are the things we have to take into consideration when we are dealing with cash and bank? Is it right? These they will ask you somewhere. Okay, 1 or 2 points they will ask you in the middle. Okay, that's what. Nothing more than that. Fine. Very simple. First, we'll talk about. I think first we'll talk about the cash. Is it right? The first we talk about the bank, then we'll talk about the cash. Okay, that's very simple. Fine. Now, what is when we are talking about the bank, we have to get bank confirmation reports. Is it right? This is very important. Year-end audit. Is it when year-end audit? Is it right? When year-end audit. Is that when year-end audit? When you are doing the year-end audit. Bank confirmation is very important. Is it right? In some cases, is it month end confirmation is also important. Is it right? See, every one of you are having bank accounts. Is it right? Every one of you are having bank accounts. If you take into consideration, every one of us will get a bank email. Is it right? Email from the bank at the end of the month regarding what? Regarding what is the bank statement we'll get. Is it right? Maybe we are not going to see that much on that, but we will get it. Is it right? Bank confirmation reports using obtaining the evidence. We are getting the evidence about how much is in the bank and how much is with our cash. Other evidence related to the bank, in any other related to the bank, in terms of what? Very specifically. In terms of loans, is it right? In terms of covenants, is it right? In terms of guarantees, is it right? In terms of guarantees, yesterday we have done in terms of pledges, is it right? In terms of pledges, asset. Is there anything which we are related? We have taken any things, is right? We have to get the evidence. Is that anything we have taken lien? Is it right? We have taken loan against the assets, non-current assets, purchases of any non-current assets against any guarantees. For every other thing we are supposed to get the bank confirmation. Auditor has to get bank confirmation with the knowledge of client. Okay. Other evidence in related to cash. Is that next? Explain what is the audit objectives and what is the audit procedures. Fine. Now, when we do the things, is that, see, I am telling you in the beginning, okay, very simple. It will not be a full-fledged question will be there, not at all. If question is there, 1 or 2 or 3 marks maximum, okay, related to cash, other related to purchases, other related to sales. Is that they will mix up the things with this. Is that you have to get the bank confirmation and you have to get the bank reconciliation. Is that bank reconciliation has to be done, or is it right, on monthly basis. Fine, monthly basis. And once you have done on the monthly basis, it has to be approved. It has to be approved, or it has to be reviewed. Is it right? It has to be reviewed by a responsible person. Is it responsible manager? Is it right? Responsible manager as such. Is that that's very important. Reconciliations. Is it all reconciliation? Now, same thing we are talking about. At which stage we are in? We are not in the stage of planning all test of controls. Is that, see, by the time we end the subject, we are going to reach here. Is that we are here? We are here somewhere in the restricted procedures or somewhere in the full substantive procedures. Means you can make understanding of that till now we have covered how many things? We have covered all these concepts. Is that we have covered all these concepts? Is that planning the audit, all these things? Is that slowly we are at the restrictive or substantive procedure? What it says? Why? What is cash in the financial statement? Cash is nothing but, as you feel, we know it. We are not doing it for the first time. Is that when we say it as cash, it is a cash in hand or cash on deposits. That's the reason. If you take into consideration the current assets, is it right? If you take into consideration the current assets, what we'll say? We say cash in hand, is it right? And we'll say that cash at bank, is it right? Sometimes we'll say it is a bank, sometimes we'll say it is cash and bank. Both are same. Is that bank is, what is the bank? It is in the bank account. Is that? This is the way, basic things. Now, what we are doing here is little bit specific. Is it right? Existence. Record cash. What is the objective? Is that? What is the assertion? Existence. Is that? What is the objective of existence? The objective is recorded cash exists at the period end. Is it? If you are saying that, yes, if you are showing the register, is it right? If you are showing in the register 10,960, then you should have physical cash. Is that physical cash of 10,960? That is the existence. It should match with the register. First thing, is that is the objective. Is that completeness? All record of cash balances include effects of all transactions. Is it right? What is the completeness? We have to record each and every transaction. Is it right? Every transaction has to be entered. Is it right? Has to be entered. That is what we are talking in terms of completeness. Fine. Next, rights and obligation. They have the legal title to all cash balances. Is that? Means if you are having cash of, I'm just taking an example, okay? Don't ask me how you got 10,960, okay? That's just as an example, okay? If you are saying 10,960 should belongs to the firm, is it right? It should belong to whom? It should belong to the firm's cash or bank account. Is it right? Under the heading of the bank account. Is it right? That is the right. This means you have the right of 10,960. Is that? Valuation. Recorded cash balances are realizable at the amount stated. Is that how you are doing? Now you see the thing. You are talking in terms of receivables. Is it right? We are talking in terms of receivables. Assume receivables is 2,500. Means this receivables is you are valuing, and this receivables is going to be received. Is it right? Going to be received. Subject to the condition. This is what we have recorded. Whatever we have recorded, that has to be realized. Is it right? That is why we are talking about a valuation. And last but not the least, disclosure relating to the cash with respect to accounting standards and legislation. There is no IAS for cash. Is it right? Understand point? There is no accounting standard for cash. As simple as that. Is it right? So, but what it says, yes, cash has to be in the form of cash as such. Okay. Now, this is the assertions, and this is the objectives. See, what are the objectives? Again, I am repeating. Objectives are it has to be exist, it has to be occurred, recorded. It has to be it has to be exist, it has to be recorded. See, this is what little bit you will get more specific. Is that? First, it should exist. Then it should be occurred, or we can say it has to be recorded. All cash balances. Is it right? Next, you have the legal title of the cash as such, and it has to be realizable amounts. And most importantly, it has to be disclosed as per the accounting standards. Is it right? These are the objectives. Fine. Now, what is the simple, very simple, very easy also. Is that is the reason they will not give you a full scenario based question. Okay. The year-end bank balance figure is usually confirmed by a direct confirmation. Fine. You have to get, see, the auditors, see, are getting my point? Auditor should get. Is it that? I cannot say should, I can say must. Is it? Must get confirmation directly from the bank. Okay. This is the third party source of evidence. This is the third party, not the first party. This is not between the client and the auditor. It is the third party. Okay. So provide the auditor with excellent audit evidence. Third party is providing return evidence is there. Is it right? Third party is providing return evidence is there, means it will have more trustworthy. Understand why? It is more sufficient. It is more appropriate and more sufficient. Is it right? The auditor with the excellent audit evidence, it says that it is sufficient and it is appropriate. We don't need more than that. Okay, understand point? And there is nothing is there beyond that also. Okay, once you are getting a direct confirmation from the bank, that is the end of the day. That is the end of the activity as such. Is that the bank confirmation covers the assertions? Is that they will talk about what other things they will take. They will talk about the completeness. They will say that it is existing. Is that they say that this is the right of the client. Okay, and most importantly, they are going to say it is the value, the right amount. They will say, is it right? The right amount they say. They are talking about ISA 505 external is nothing but external confirm. Please update the list. Okay, please update the list. Don't wait till I am going to update the list. Nobody has updated this for the last 1 week or so. Is it right? Inshallah, by the end of the day you will update it, please. Now, what is the approaches? How you are getting the bank confirmation? Fine. Very simple. You have listing balances and other information. Requesting confirmation is that we are not talking about anything. We are what we are doing. We are giving a request. Is it right? That about the accuracy and completeness. Is it what is the value of the on the date? Is it right? Accurate and completeness. We will take into consideration 31st December 2022. Exactly 31st December 2022. It is part of the working papers. Understand point? It is a part of the working papers. It is part of the activity that the auditors are going to do this, and it has to be enclosed with the audit report. One of the documents that we are going to enclose with the audit report is the bank confirmation report. Is that bank confirmation balance report? Requesting details of the balances, any other information, is that compared with the client's record. Basically, we are talking in terms of what? Requesting the details of the balances. Auditors need to decide which of these approaches is most appropriate. Is that however responses need to sort for all confirmation. Means we are not going to say that we will not be selective. Is that will not be selective. Keep it in mind. Is that we are not going to say that we are going to select things. It has to be all. Okay, it has to be all. Anything that is related. There is no exemptions. There is no exceptions. Okay? There is no exemptions. There is no exceptions. There is no selectiveness. When we are saying that yes, we want any dealings, any transactions, any bank accounts, small, big, nil balances, any balances, you have to get the confirmation of all the bank accounts, savings accounts, current accounts, everything. Is it right? That's very important. Fine. Now, control over the content and dispatch of confirmation request is the auditor's responsibility. Is it right? What is the responsibility of the they have the means control over content and dispatch. What auditors need, how the auditor needs, bank has to give like that. Basically, we tell like this, but in most of the cases, there is a standard format will be there with the bank, through which the bank will take the letter and send directly to the auditor. Okay, directly go. This must be authorized by the client. Client will be in the loop. Understand point? Client will have all the information. There is nothing like that. We are not going to do any activity without the knowledge of the client. Keep it in mind. Any activity from chapter 1 to chapter 12, every other activity is with the knowledge of the client. Replies must be sent directly, is it right, to the auditor. So pre-addressed envelope should be closed. You have to type the auditor has to type the envelope. Now fine, of course we are talking nowadays, it's more or less an email, is it right? So this is, but we are not talking about email with the current situations. Still in most of the countries this process is in existence. Okay, so they are not talking about specific. Now what are the items we have to include in the bank confirmation? Is it right? What is the balance? You have to make sure that what is the current account balance, what is the deposits, what are the loans, and what are the other accounts. Is it right? Nil balances. If any nil balances of any accounts, it has to be done. If we have closed any accounts for the last 12 months, okay, last financial year, that has to be there. Remember these points. Okay, we will cover this in the scenario based questions. Understand point? What are the things? Current account, deposit account, loans, and any other accounts. Any balances with nil accounts. 12 months, last 12 months we have closed any account, it has to be mentioned. If there is any maturity of loans or overdrafts, it has to be there. With respect to what? Interest terms. We have facilities, but we have not used some facilities. You have overdraft facility, but you have not used overdraft facility. But in spite of that, you have to mention that. Is that lines of credit, standby facilities? Is it right? Lines of credit. What are the different source of credit we are using? Is it right? We are using the project loans. Is it right? We are very specifically never write general things. But you write one point, but write specific. Project loans are there. You have working capital loans are there. Is it right? You will have fixed assets are there. Is it right? Likewise, you have different types of loans. What are the different lines of credit? Short term, long term, medium term. Is it right? Any standby facility. What is the standby facility? Standby facility is nothing but an overdraft. Is it right? In a simple term, if your current account we will not going to use savings account for the bank. Is it right? For the business. Is it right? Very simple. If there is any current account balance will decrease. Automatically what will happen? It will trigger and there will be an overdraft will be there. Is it right? We will give a standing instruction that every time the balance should be around 10,000 riyals. Automatically it will match. Is it right? That is the standby facility. Any offset or other rights and encumbrances. Any offset means anything you are what will happen? We'll say any offsets means yesterday we have done with receivables. If you remember rightly, what we have done, we said that, is it right? We are taking the loans. Is it right? We are taking the loans against what? Against the receivables. Is it right? Against the receivables. Now what happens? The moment there is a recovery, is it right? There is a recovery. What happens? A part of recovery goes to the client. Is it right? What goes to the company, and then the amount of loan will be transferred to the loan account. Is it right? This is like an offset. Is it right? Means automatically they will not wait for us to repay the loan. As simple as that. It is like a salary. Is it a loan you are taking? You are taking a loan. Automatically what will happen? The salary will come. Automatically the bank will take its loan amount as such. Is there details of any collaterals? Is there any guarantees? Any terms and conditions that has been attached? Is it right? Given or received? Whether we have given or we have received. Contingent liabilities. Is right? Contingent liabilities. IAS 37. Is it? Contingent liabilities. Is it? Any future. Is it? Any liabilities that may incur in future. Is it right? Like claims, like legal suits, like that. Okay. And securities held by the bank. Is there any securities in terms of what? Securities in terms of any investments. Any investments of the client held by the bank. Is it? These are the things which has to be included in the confirmation report. Okay, these are the things that has to be confirmation. In most of the cases, I will tell you with my experience, is that what are the things will slowly, we will easy ones, is that first is important, is that current account, balance account, nil balances, is it right? You are talking about the 12 months confirmation, is it right? Any unused facilities, is it right? Any unused facilities, that's all. 1 2 3 4, you can put 1 2 3 4, is it right? Any unused facilities, these are the common things, is that these are the common things which we are going to mention in our answer with respect to confirmation request. Okay, in our answer they will ask what are the items to be included in the confirmation report. They will ask, if they ask, we have to improve this, mention 1 2 3 4. Okay, now what is the procedure, how the things will work, is that the banks will require an explicit return authority, is it right, from the client to disclose the information requested. The client has to give, okay, the client has to give to the bank that you can disclose it to our auditor. Okay, understand point? The client has to tell to the bank that the XYZ auditor is there, we are having a auditor, you can send the bank confirmation to him directly. The auditor request must refers to the client letter. You have to give the reference. Is that when the auditor is writing letter to the bank, is it right? Auditor has to give reference of the client letter. Is it right? Now you can see the things. Is that you will have the first, what happened? The client letter will be there. Is it right? Then the second thing, what will happen? The auditor letter will be there. Is it right? But auditor letter is given to the bank. Is it right? When you are giving it to the bank, what happens? The reference of this letter has to be there. Is it right? The reference of the letter, that with reference to the client letter, we want so and so. It may be countersigned by the client, or it may be accompanied by a specific letter of authority. Is that whoever is the authorized signatory? In case of, sometimes will happen, joint accounts are there, will be there. Is it right? Means 2 or more people will have signatory. See, the bank account is like what happens? The amount is increasing. Definitely, the signature authority will also differ. Is that the amount is increasing? In the initial stages, you will have 2 people. 2 people will be there 100%. Is it right? If you are having more than this much amount, maybe you will have more than 2 people have to sign, or different designation people will have to be signed. Is it right? In case of joint letter of authority signed by all parties. Is that if it is joint account, you should not have a single authority. Is that it has to be by all the joint account holder. Now, bank confirmation, what it says, such letter of authority may either give permission to the bank to disclose information for a specific request, or grant permission for a indeterminate length of time. Is it right? Means what happens? They will say that fine. It is sometimes what will happen. See, validity of the letter, very simple. Is it right? Validity of the letter. Is it right? Is it? What they will say? This validity is for 6 months. This letter is for 6 months. This letter is for only next 15 days. Now the concept is very clear. Whenever your bank is giving any letter of any letter, they say that this letter is valid for the next 6 months only. Fine. That is the basic procedure. Is it right? The request should reach the branch manager at least 1 month in advance. Is it right? And the client year end should state both the year end and previous balances. Means it should have what? It should have 2022. Is it right? 2022. What have to? You should have a closing balance, as simple as that. As well as you should have the opening balance. That is the reason we are doing the reconciliation. When you are doing the reconciliation, we take the opening balance, we take the closing balance. The auditor should themselves check that the bank response cover all the information in the standard, in the required standard, and others responsibilities. What is the responsibility? It is the auditors should themselves check. They're not going to say that yes, what is the client, because it is going to be given directly to the client. Is it right? Now, what is see, this is the word, is it? This is the common word we use in most of the cases. Is it window dressing? See what happens basically whenever we are talking window dressing is what? See, window dressing is very simple, is it right? Now, what happens 31st December? Is it right? 31st December, see, as an auditor, what you will do, you will say what are the transactions that has taken place last month. What are the last 30 days? Is it right? What are the transactions? Whether there are going to be huge deposits or there are going to be huge withdrawals. You will see, very simple. When we are doing the things, definitely we are very much focused on what? Huge deposits. See, to manage, to consolidate, to show that the cash is, see, to show that the firm is having a good cash reserves. Is it right? There will be huge deposits. We can take in other way also. Is it when you are having a high cash balance, it gives a negative signal to the stakeholders. That's why you are holding the high cash balance. In that time, what will happen? Definitely there will be some transfers. Is that? It's not a withdrawal, I can say. It is going to, we can call it as a transfers. Is it? That is otherwise called a window dressing. It's like a window shopping, as simple, okay? Both are same, window dressing. The bank balance is open to the risk. Is it? So cutoff must be audited carefully. Cutoff is what? Cutoff is nothing but what? That last month, last 30 days, very crucial. Is that last 30 days very crucial? You will just focus on the transaction. Any transaction which are not normal in nature, those transactions we will trace it out. Is it right? We will trace it out. Is it? We will identify. Is it right? Management may try to overstate. That's what I told you, overstate liquidity by keeping cash book open to the credit for remittances. Is that fine? Actually received after the year end. Is it? We'll say that yes. What will happen? Something we are going to receive on 5th of January. Is it right? We'll say that no. Is it? We'll say that no. Everything possible. Trust me. If you want to do anything, you can do. As simple as that. Is that? There's no restrictions on that. Is it right? We'll say that no, we will not take it on that. We are taking it on 26th of December. Is that? We have to take, instead of 5th, we will take on 26th. Automatically what will happen? If there is a negative overdraft, it will become a asset. Is it right? The cash balance will automatically increase. Is that? Anything happen? Overstate, you can overstate cash balance. You can understate receivables, is it right? Overstate or understate receivables. Recording the checks, just now I told you, recording the checks in the period which are not actually dispatched, is it right? Which are not, what you will do instantly, you will say that on 28th, is it right? You will issue a check. Is that? You will issue a check where you are issuing a check of 200,000, 2 million, is it right? Automatically what will happen? The cash balance will decrease. Fine. We have to investigate why this check has been issued. Is it right? Which is not actually dispatched until after the period. Just to make sure that we have to understate cash or we have to overstate the liability. Now you can say window dressing is nothing but how we can see, very simple, how a client can manipulate the cash and bank balances. The following slides are about audit procedure, the substantive procedures, fine, okay. Next. Okay, now what it says that what is the substantive procedures, okay, to test the bank. First, you have to obtain confirmation, bank confirmation. Is it right? Bank confirmation from each bank with the client conducted business during the first and foremost, you have to get all confirmation letters. Okay. First, you have to get all confirmation letters. Next. Second, you have to do what? You have to re-perform arithmetic calculation, totaling. Okay. Now, third, what you have to do? As simple as that, trace checks shown as outstanding. What are the outstanding checks? Is that it's nothing but a reconciliation. Is that we are doing what? We are doing the reconciliation. Reconciliation to the cash book. Is that reconciliation to the cash book? Prior to the end and after the date. We can know that the moment you can do reconciliations, we say that checks deposited, not in cash, checks received but not deposited. So many things will come into picture. Okay, reconciliation is very important. Why we do the reconciliation? We do the reconciliation to obtain what? To obtain explanations for any large or unusual items. This is the most sensitive one. Okay, what are the large and unusual items? Compare cash book with the bank statements. As simple as that. It's that in detail last month of the year and match items which are outstanding. Is that we are is nothing but what you are doing? We are doing the reconciliation. Simply write reconciliation for the last month of the year. Is it right? And identifying the outstanding amount. Reconciliation for to be done at the end of the month, at the end of the year, okay, at the end of for large and unusual items not cleared. Is it simple English use? That is the reason when I am writing, when highlighting with the marker, those are the keywords. With that words you can make up the sentence. Is it what it says when you are getting the reconfirmation? Is it reconciliation? Is it you have to review? A responsible person has to review bank reconciliation. Is it you have to review previous year and every year. Last year bank reconciliation and this year bank reconciliation. You have to review it. Is it right? And take it forward to the year-end bank reconciliation. Fine. Means you have to review it. Last year you have to review. Last year we have done. In spite of that, we have to review last year final bank reconciliation, and you have to work out on the current year reconciliation. Current year reconciliation is important, but last year reconciliation gives you an idea. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. Get the satisfactory explanations of all items in the cash book. That there is no corresponding entries in the bank book or vice versa with the. I mean, you have to get satisfied for all items in the bank book for which no corresponding entries in the bank statement. Means what happens is, if it is in the that's the most what you have to understand from this. If it is in the cash book, is it right? And it has to be in the bank book also. It is there in the cash book. It exists in the cash book. But what happened? It is not exist in the bank book. Is it right? Then you have to get what? You have to get satisfactory explanation. Got my point? Satisfactory explanation. Understand point? What this you just imagine. See, you have to get satisfactory expression for all those items which have been there in the cash book and there is no corresponding entries in the bank book. Why it has not been entered in the bank book? What is the contra items? Any idea about contra items?
I think it's something related to asset.
I think it is related to asset only. Cash is related to asset only, na? What is that? Allowances for doubtful debts, nothing. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Hey.
It's in the general ledger
It is?
that reduces the value.
Pardon?
General ledger.
Again?
The general ledger.
General ledger?
Yeah, it's reduced the value of accounts.
Contra means, is it right? See the things. You have bank book, is it right? You have cash book, is it right? Now, what happens if you withdraw cash? Is it withdraw cash? Okay? What happens withdraw cash? Bank book will decrease, cash book will increase. Okay? Is it just very simple? Whenever you deposit, bank book will increase, cash book will decrease. This type of transactions, is it right? This type of transaction, this type of, I'm not saying these, this type of, okay, only one. This type of transaction is called as contra.
Mister, can you repeat again?
Fine, I will repeat. This is the things, see, nowadays nobody will teach this. This is the things we have learned when we are in +2. Just imagine, +2 when we are in. Is it right? Now people are not, nobody will tell you this. Contra items. What will happen? What is the contra? Contra means both the books will get affected. Both the books will get affected. When you withdraw cash, what will happen? See, as simple as that. You are withdrawing cash from the bank, from your own ATM. Okay? You withdraw cash from the bank. Your bank account will decrease. Your cash balance will increase. That is simply contra. That's the simplest way of contra. Nothing is there. This is not a. But what happens? Definitely, you have to make an entry in both the books. Is that right? We have to make the entry in both the books. You have to make the entry in your own bank book. You have to make entry in your own cash book. You are depositing. Is it right? You are depositing. When you are depositing, what will happen? Your cash. See, as simple as that. You are depositing money in the CDM. Fine. You are depositing in your own CDM. In your account through CDM. Now what will happen? Your cash balance will decrease, your bank balance will increase. That concept is called as contra. What you have to do? You have to make adjustments in both the books. Is it right? See the thing. Your contra item appearing in the cash book or bank statements with original entry. Yeah, we verify appearing in the cash book or bank statements with original entry. We don't want, we have to make an entry there. You have to make an entry in the cash book that we have deposited, and we have to reduce the cash balance, and we have to increase the bank balance. Means simultaneously we are doing the things. That is called as a contra item. Is it clear? Is it okay?
Clear.
Is it okay?
Yes, it's okay.
That is, I can sense with your response now. Fine, is that? See, it is not. It is little bit thinking concept. Okay, it is nobody will understand in the first stage. Is that it happens with everyone. Okay, fine, no problem. Verify by inspecting what? Inspect. Okay? Now you have some idea about the contra item. Okay, some idea about the contra item. What I again say, don't leave it with half understanding. Okay, don't leave it with half understanding that contra item is nothing but simple words I am saying. Contra item is nothing but you are depositing money in the bank. Bank balance will increase, cash balance will decrease. Simultaneously, you have to make an entry in the cash book. You have to make the entry in the bank book. That is the simple definition of the contract. Next, how do we have to test the verify the inspecting what paying in slips? Is that if there any paying in slips are there that the uncleared bankings are paid are paid before the year. See what will happen whenever you deposit, whenever you withdraw, you will have the slips. Is that right? That slips is act as a evidence. Is that those slips will act as a evidence. Some people are there, very simple. Some people will keep all those slips, is that as such. And for the if you are doing anything on behalf of the firm, company, definitely that is a proof of evidence. Examine all lodgements, is it right? All lodgements, all the transactions that have been paid in respect which payment has been refused by the bank. Is that if there any checks has been bounced? Is that any checks has been bounced? Is that has not been cleared? Is it right? Not been cleared. Is it dishonored? Is it right? If you are using the word of banking system, it is dishonored. Is it right? And she examine all the dishonored payments refused by the bank. Ensure that they are cleared on representation or appropriate steps have been taken in terms of to effect the recovery. If there is any checks have been dishonored, you have to take the proper follow-up action. Verify balances of cash book according to the bank reconciliation and inspecting what? Cash book. You have to inspect physically. What is physical cash balance? Is that verify bank balance with reply to the standard bank letter. We are getting the what will happen, the auditor will get letter, okay? Auditor will get the letter from the bank, is it? We'll get the confirmation letter from the bank. Is it? Now what we have to reply it, is it right? We have to reply it with respect to what? Yes, we have received it, we have had a confirmation, is it right? Then yesterday we have done something, positive response and negative response, something like that, is it right? Positive response are those responses which are receivables, is it right? Which are for it is agreed or disagreed, will give a positive response. That is a positive response. What is the negative response? If we disagree, then only we will reply. Okay, similar to that. Is that now? Next, inspect the cash book and bank statements before and after the year end for any exceptional entries. Is that or transfer? That's why I say. If you are talking about the things, is that you are talking about 31st of December. Fine. 31st of December, last 30 days are important. Is it right? And next 30 days are important. Is that next? You have to mention what happens in the last, any unusual transactions, any transfers are there, any capital expenditure is there. Is it right? See the thing. This is what happens. What is the basic thing? By 31st December, people will want to close the year. They want to clear the budget. When they want to clear the budget, there may be instances where they are going to make a huge abnormal purchases. Those we have to be careful. We have to make it sure that it has been done with the approval of the appropriate authorities. Is that any transfers are there, any exceptional items are there, then it has to be closely scrutinized. Is that identify whether any accounts are secured on the assets of the company. Is there any accounts are secured, any security we have given. Is it right? You have to discuss with the management. What is whether there is a legal right of set off of any overdrafts against positive. Means what will happen sometimes if you take overdraft. Is it right? If you take overdraft, what will happen? The moment there is a positive balance in the cash in the account, is it right? In the cash, automatically what will happen? It will repay the overdraft. Is it right? It will repay the overdraft. As simple as that. Whenever there is a shortage, is it right? Whenever there is a what will do? First, it will repay. Whenever there is a shortage, is it right? Whenever there is a shortage, what will happen? Automatically, an overdraft will be created. Is it right? Overdraft means definitely there are both the things has to be considered. Is that whether there is a legal right of set off of overdrafts against positive balances, whether the bank accounts are subject to any restrictions by inquiries with the management. Maybe if there are any restrictions has been placed by the management, is it right? Some conditional restrictions. Okay, it is general one. Don't focus. Review draft accounts to ensure that the disclosures for the banks are complete. Is that this is very important. Is that you have to review the draft accounts to make sure that they are complete and accurate as per the accounting standards. In examination, ask for audit procedures, verify balances. See, verify bank balances. They will not ask that much. 2-3 marks, not more than that. Is it right? Not more than that. Although the bank confirmation letter is important, there is other procedures to be carried out. Is it right? The previously commented lose out marks are not focusing on the procedures. Is it right? Rather than people are very much concerned about only the bank confirmation letter. But what are the bank confirmation letter? Inside details, students will not focus on that. Remember that bank confirmation letter shows the balance held by the client as per the record. This must be reconciled with the client. It means bank and cash should be reconciled. Fine. This is with respect to bank. Okay, very simple, very short and simple. Now, what we are talking about? The cash. Is it right? How we are see when we talk about the cash, what will come to our mind? Will come to our mind is the concept of petty cash. Is it right? And another way in which type of businesses cash handling will be more. Now see, you are talking in terms of plastic money, you are talking in terms of virtual money, we are talking about e-banking, all those things. Still if you take into consideration, there is a good amount of cash that is there in the circulation in the market. Is it? There is a good amount of cash. Most businesses hold cash. They present that there will be what will happen if you hold cash? There will be a scope for a fraud. Is it right? Risk. As cash is easily misappropriated in some types of industry, in terms of retail industry. Is it right? Cash held as a considerable amount. You see the hypermarkets. Is it right? You see the malls. Hypermarkets basically is a retail business, small businesses, retail. 90% of the transactions will be on the cash only. Now, you see in metropolitan metro cities, is it right? You can use the plastic money, is it right? But if you go to interiors, still we say that most of the people will use cash. Is it right? Most of the people will use cash. In other businesses, it may be a small amount, such as petty cash flows. Is it the best way for an external auditor to audit a cash in hand is what? You have to make a cash count as such. Is that? You have to make a cash count. I don't know anybody has worked with the banks, is it right? Any private, any corporate, okay? The moment the auditors will come, the first thing what the auditors will do, the auditors will see what is the cash register, what is the amount in the cash register, and what is the physical cash. The first thing, they will take the copy of that, they will put the signature, and they will attach it as a document. Is that as a document for the audit purpose? Is that what is the cash? Cash is nothing but notes, unbanked checks, IOUs. Is that IOU? Is that credit card slips? All those things. Is that cash count have three phases? One is planning phase, counting phase, and follow-up procedure. First, you have to plan, then we have to count, and what is the follow-up procedures as such. Is that plan? How you are doing the planning concept? All cash balance should be counted at the same time. Need to establish locations where cash is held. Need to establish what is the time of the count. Need to know that names of audit staff and the client staff. Who is representing on behalf of the audit, and who is representing on the behalf of the client. Is that where a location is not visited, it may be appropriate to get a confirming the balance. If it is any remote places, then you have to get the confirmation with respect to the balance as on the date of audit. Very simple, is that all cash and petty cash books should be written up to date. Is that as simple as that? It says it should be complete. Is it right? At the time of count, all balances. That's what they always stress that whenever we are counting the cash, it will be counted once at one time. Is it right? You should not count in phases. Is it right? Any negotiable in securities, checks, any checks are there, any treasury notes are there, any promissory notes are there. Is it right? Negotiable instruments is nothing but any promissory notes. Is it right? Is it any promissory notes? Any checks are there. Is it right? Any checks are there, must be available and counted at the time cash is counted. Everything has to be there. Checks is also equivalent to cash. Is it right? Checks is also equivalent to cash as such. Fine. At no time should the auditors be left alone with the cash. At no time should the auditors be left alone with the cash. Means two people has to be there. Okay, two people has to be there. That's very important. One should be from the client side. One should be from the auditor side. All cash securities must be recorded on working papers. Is it? Well, whatever you are doing, it has to be done on the working papers. And we are talking in terms of current audit file. Now I will ask, what are the things what will be in the permanent audit file? Any idea? Any idea about what we have discussed in the permanent audit file? In the permanent audit file, what are the things we will have? What will be there in the working papers? What are the items that will be included in the working papers? Write down in your notes. Write down in the notes. Tomorrow I will ask you this. I will ask you without any, I will not ask you generally, I will ask with one specific person. Anyone. Is it right? The permanent audit file and the working papers. Is it right? And I will ask you also about something related to what? something related to documentation.
Sir,
Yes.
this one includes tests performed by the auditor, list of controls or procedures applied by the auditors, conclusion for the engagements, scope of
Where it will be there in the working papers or in the permanent audit file?
working papers.
Okay, that's good. What will be there in that? You try. Anybody can try. Just recover. You will get it back. What will be there in the permanent audit file? Any idea? Yes or no? Okay, I will ask you tomorrow. Is it? I will ask you tomorrow. Very simple. You have to again. By the time I will complete the things, I will give a good list of points which I am going to ask tomorrow. Okay, I am also writing on my notes. Okay, I am writing it on this my notepad. Is it right? Now you just revise it. Reconciliation should be prepared where applicable. Reconciliation is the part of the cash. Is it right? It is part of the every system as such. Is it right? It is part of the every system as such. Now, what we have to think about cash count when what is the procedure with respect to cash count? Is that count cash balances held and agree to petty cash book. Okay, as simple as that. What is the petty cash book balance and what is the petty cash in hand? Count all balances simultaneously one time. Is it right? They are focusing on this. You have to mention this in the presence of individuals responsible. Inquire into any IOUs. IOUs means if there is anything that is you have given advance. Is it right? Any advances you have given. Is it right? Advances, definitely it has to be settled. That is the reason. If there are any advances given, they have to be settled before the year end. Okay, or cash checks outstanding for a long time. Is it? See, actually, what is the duration? The duration is for the maximum. A check will be valid for 6 months. Is it? We should be very clear about these technical aspects. Okay, accounting should be perfect wherever we go. Is it? Checks means you should be for the 6 months. Obtain original cash in hand for response from responsible officials. Is it right? Original certificates of what is the cash in hand. I told you now. The moment what happens, the moment the auditor visits, is it right? I'm writing this, visits client office. Is it right? Client office. First, what he will do? First, he will take the photocopy. Can you imagine? He takes the photocopy of the cash register. Is it right? He takes the copy of that and he cross check. Is it right? He cross check with the cash balance. He cross check with the cash balance. The register and the cash balance should match. Anything, and he will take it and he will sign. Is that he will take it and anything, any misstatements are there, it will be taken into consideration. That is the reason. Obtain what they say, or obtain certificates of cash from a responsible person. Confirm that the bank and cash balances are reconciled. That is the most important thing that has to be considered. Means it has to, whenever you are doing the things, it has to be simultaneously at one time. All counting has to be done. Any IOUs or uncashed checks should be shown, should be taken into consideration. Obtain certificates from the responsible officers, and you should reconcile the bank and cash balances. Last one, what is the follow-up procedures? Is it right? What is the follow-up procedure? What we are doing, we make sure that obtain certificates of cash in hand. I told you, see, this is the part of the audit procedure, and this has to be documented. Verify any unbanked checks or cash receipts subsequently paid in. It means you have not deposited, you have deposited after some time. Is it? Means everything should be matched. Where if we have received the check, is it right? I will write the things. Is it right? If you have received it, is it right? It has to be banked. It has to be deposited into bank. That's very important. Is it right? See, nowadays what happens? People will give post-dated checks. Is it right? People will, most of the time, you give post-dated checks. You give checks on different days. Is it right? The rule says that on the day it has to be deposited. It has to be not only deposited, it has to be encashed. Is that this is why we are very much concerned about lodgements. Is that any lodgements means any mistimings are there with respect to the deposits are not cleared, bounced, all those things has to be taken into consideration. Ensure IOUs, advances and checks cashed for employees have been reimbursed. Don't keep anything pending. Understand what? By 31st December, you should not keep anything. The accounts has to be cleared. See, we will say like this on paper, but in practical it will not happen. There will be some plus or minus will be there. That's a different issue. Whether any advances of cash checks outstanding for reasonable periods of time have been provided. See, you have given an advance, is it right? You have given an advance to the employee. You have given an employee. It has to be settled, is it? It has to be settled within 30 days. Now, the advance has been pending more than 90 days. Definitely, you have to ask for the reason why it is pending. Is that why you have this pending? Definitely, you should not keep pending over a longer period of time. Verify the balances as counted. Is that as counted? Well, how much you have? See, that is the reason. When you are talking about the things, what they will do? They will put the denominations also. You cannot imagine. They will put the denomination 50 into how much, 20 into how much, 10 into how much, 5 into how much, 1 into how much, even 50 by the 500 by the is how much, 100 by the how much, and they will ask, they put coins also. Fine, this much precision they will follow whenever they are talking in terms of balances as counted by inspection of draft financial statement. What it says, you describe substantive procedures auditor should perform to confirm bank and cash for Fox industry. Is it? If it is there, fine. If it is not there, we will do. We will do in June 2013 question. Okay, we will do in the June 20. We will cover this and simultaneously we will do. Is that there are 7 marks available? To assume that 1 mark is awarded for well-explained marks, well-explained procedure. Now note that the substantive procedures are required for test of controls. You are asked for an audit procedure on bank, so do not focus on the bank balances. That they are mentioned very clearly. You are talking about the procedures. Is it? What it says, is it? What it says. What is the procedures? Is it? As simple as that. We are putting that into the send a bank confirmation request. Is it right? To the bank of holding savings accounts and Fox Industry, so that the bank year-end bank can be verified. Is it right? See the thing. What happens when you have sent? You can add. See, you can build up the points as simple as possible. Is it right? What happens? First the client will send, then the bank, then the auditor will send. Is it right? The auditor will send. The auditor will send with reference to the client letters to the bank. Is it right? And the bank will send it back in a covered letter, closed letter. Okay. This is the procedure. Is it right? This is the procedure. We are not talking about anything else. to get the bank confirmation. So that review the year-end reconciliations of the bank with respect to what? With respect to general ledger. Fine. That's what it says. First, you have to go into gross values. Is it right? What we are talking? We are talking about the mathematical accuracy. Is it? We'll say that what is the bank balance? Is it right? What is the bank balance? Is it right? And what is the bank balance shown in the way in the current assets? Is it right? See, in the current assets, what is the cash and what is the bank? These two, this has to be matched, as simple as that. Is it right? This has to be matched. Reperform year-end bank reconciliation. You do as an auditor, just you reperform reconciliation and you find any differences. You have to agree with the balances. Is it balances of the draft financial statement with the general ledger and reconciliations? Is it right? Means you have to agree with the whatever the balances that has been reflected in the financial statement. What it says, the most important one, review draft financial statement to confirm that all amounts are relevant at disclosure. Review the draft financial statement that we have to confirm. Is that we have to confirm that the balances which has been shown are correctly stated. If any checks are there, outstanding checks are there, you have to trace it out. Is it right? That's the reason. It's even in paper F3, F2 they will do financial accounting. Is it right? F2 they will do financial accounting. But in your bachelor's, maybe you have done bank reconciliation statement. Is it right? You will add and you will less all those things. Is it right? You will make it a point how it will work. Is it right? Anything which has been last year trace checks shown as outstanding from the bank reconciliation to the cash book period to the year end and after the bank statement. Means anything which has been before the date and after the date. Is that? That is what we are talking about, the cutoff. Compare cash book and bank book in detail. Is that for the last month of the year? Very, very important. Understand? Very, very important. See, that is what is that. Maybe in somewhere we have learned you should have a professional skepticism. Is this not? You have a professional skepticism. This is the part of professional skepticism. We are reviewing the last 30 days and next 30 days. Any unusual items, and basically the client can get trapped in. Very simple. It happens repeatedly. Obtain satisfactory explanations for all items where there is no corresponding entries. Is there, if there is an entry in the bank and entry in the cash book and no entry in the bank book, definitely you any differences. Is there any differences, or for any differences obtain, simply you write like this: for any differences in the cash book and the bank book, obtain satisfactory explanation from the finance staff. Yes, take your, see, I will tell you like this, I will tell to my students like this only. First visualize how it will work and put it in a simple English. Automatically things will be easy. Verify contra items. Is it right? Verify you can say what are the withdrawals. Is it right? What are the withdrawals? What are the withdrawals or deposits? Fine. Now, what subsequently what they are talking about 7 points. They have mentioned so many things. All the things they have summarized it. That's all. Is it right? Verify the paying slips. Is it right? Paying slips that are uncleared. Is it that have not been recorded? Is it year to year end? Verify the balances as per the cash book and the bank reconciliation. is it? By inspecting the cash book and the bank statements, is it? Verify the bank balances with the reply from the bank statements, is it? What are the reply that have been given with respect to the bank confirmation letter, and you should see that what is the bank balance, is it right? What is the bank balance, and you have to make sure that what is the bank confirmation letter. Inspect cash and bank statement before and after year end for any exceptional items, entries or transfers, and identify whether any accounts are secured on the assets of the company. Is that it means any security we have given for any accounts? Is it right? For those accounts, we have to get the explanation from the management as such. Is that why? Further, what they will say in terms of cash, count year-end cash and cash balances and match with the cash records. Obtain the cash in hand certificates from the responsible officers, and whatever the amount is there in the cash book should be reflected in the financial statements. Whatever the amount has been there in physical cash, the same cash should be the same amount of cash should be reflected in the financial statements under the heading classification of cash as such. Except question 5, okay? Except question 5. Question 5 also we can do. Here identify evidence, items of evidence, okay? Financial statements, year-end audit. Fine, okay? Now, we will do this, okay? We will do this. What is the importance of audit planning? 2 matters that would be included in an audit plan. Fine, 1 minute. This is 15th of 22. See, there are two questions are there. Fine, three questions, four, wow, fine. Is that there are different questions are there? Is that this is the question which is entirely different. Okay, explain the importance of audit planning. Audit planning we have done somewhere in lecture 5. Okay, somewhere in lecture 5. Lecture 5 or lecture 6? Where we have done, yes, lecture 6, audit planning. Okay, now very quickly I will go through it very fast. Okay, I'm telling you this and I will follow this. What is the audit planning? Is it right? Is it? It's a revision for us. Is it right? What we are talking about, the planning the audit, we are talking about the strategy. What is the audit or total audit strategy? What is the interim audit and what is the final audit? Is it right? What is the purpose of interim audit and what is the purpose of final audit? Fine. Interim audit is very important. That's what we are saying. Is it right? And what are the working papers? It is a what are the audit planning? What are the working papers and what is the procedure of safe custody and retention of working papers? Fine. What is the need for planning, document strategy, interim audit and final audit and documentation? Fine. See, you also have to work it out. What are the things we are covering in this audit planning? Is that in this audit planning we plan it, understand the entity and assess the risk. These are the three points we will cover. Is it right? That is the reason that they have mentioned. Is that ISA 300 planning of the audit and what is the objectives of audit? Is it right? What is the audit planning? It helps. If you plan it, you can devote appropriate time. We can resolve potential problems. We can organize effectively. Is it right? We can select a good team member, appropriate team members with good experience. We can assign them. We can direct supervision and review of the work. Is it right? Assist in coordination of work by the auditors. Is that fine? It is 10 marks question. No, that's not. We are talking about audit strategy and audit plan. Is it right? Audit plan. We are talking. This is the way general engagements, characteristics, and nature of time. Audit strategy is a broader term. Audit plan is very specific. Fine. Is it right? Next. We are talking about the audit strategy. What we have done? Reporting objectives, characteristics of the engagement. Is it right? Characteristics of the engagement, nature and timing of resources, audit team, and significant factors of preliminary engagement activities. Fine. See, it is you have done, but this is the way revision will be done. We will go through the lecture in substance very briefly and very fast, and then we come to the question answer. Characteristics of the engagement. What are the financial reporting framework, industry specific, what we have to do in the audit coverage, what are the business segments, is the internal audit work, how much is done, is a survey, what are the service organizations, we need any help from others, is it right? What is the IT procedures and clients' personal data, is it right? Communication of the third parties, we are determining the materiality, is it right? Management commitment, is it right? Volume of transactions, we are getting the enough understanding the entity, is it right? Understanding the entity, that's what. Then we say it's a audit plan and is right? What should be audit plan included? What is the timing? Is the procedures, further procedures, performance materiality, is it right? Performance materiality. Now you can recollect the points what we have done, is it right? We are talking about the audit procedures for non-current assets inventory, is it right? We are documenting changes, how we have to, if there is any updations are there, what is the procedures, is it right? What is the difference between interim audit and final audit? One question will be there 100%. Take my point. There will be one question, difference between internal audit and to final audit or difference between interim audit and final audit? Is it right? Interim audit, test of controls, is it right? Risk assessment, so is that we'll do this documentation. Whereas final audit, we are talking about substantive procedures, third party confirmation, what we have done now in the bank, is it right? That is the area of final audit. You have two analytical procedures, going concern. We have not done going concern. Tomorrow we'll do that. Is it right? Obtain return representations. Is it right? Next, audit planning, interim audit and final audit. Fine. That's all. Audit documentation, working papers. Is it? Now, somewhere, what are the objectives of audit documentation? It provides evidence. Okay. It provides evidence. How we have conclusion, how we have planned, how we have performed, is it right? How we have supervised, how we are accountable, and what is the significance. It provides evidence as such, is it right? And is that audit documentation? Fine. And our audit working papers, I asked you, is it right? In the working papers, what will happen? What will be there? What will be there in the working papers? Audit strategy, audit plan, minutes, non-current asset register, purchase invoice, supplier statements. Is it right? Please look into this. Is it right? Next, audit working papers, return representations, internal audit, third party confirmations. Is it right? Bank letter. Is it right? All this will be there in the audit documentation. Just now I told you permanent audit file and current audit files. Is it right? Permanent audit files. I expected this answer from you. Trust me, I expected there should be a memorandum of association and articles of association. Is it right? What will be there in the permanent audit file? In the permanent audit file, memorandum of association. Is it a memorandum of association and articles of association? Remember this. If you remember these 2 points, that is more than enough. Okay, that is more than enough. Is that permanent audit files and current audit? Luckily, see, engagement letters, you have new client questionnaires, memorandums and articles, legal documents, prospectus, permanent audit file. Is that? Permanent audit file is nothing but the base foundation. Is that the base? You are establishing a company, you will get a registration certificate. It is a permanent. Is that? Details of the history of the business, board meetings. Is that? These are the previous year signed documents are permanent. Is it right? Is that? You should be current audit files. Is that? In current audit files, financial statements, receivables, time budgets, is it right? Representation letters, report to the management. Yeah? Whatever happened during the current year, is that? Whatever happened during the current year, it is current audit files, and whatever is there forever, it is a permanent audit file. Okay? You have a documentation, sampling plans, analytical procedures, is that? Maybe they will put the, is that? Then they give the question as such, is it right? They have given the questionnaire and they said that how the audit documentation has to be done. Is it right? Safe custody of working papers. Is it right? Examination, hint, fraud. Is that what is the fraud and what is the misappropriation of assets? Is it right? A big lecture. Is it right? Review it. Is that why I am going through this? I want to refresh you. Okay, I want to refresh you. You may have missed some concepts. Is it right? Definitely it happens. Is that? Written representation. Is that very important? Written representation. IS 240. Is that? Fraud, management responsibility, auditor response. There is no responsibility on the auditor. Okay, auditor must also take into account the legal and regulatory framework. Is it right? It is responsibility of the management only. That is why we have discussed some way to obtain the reasonable assurance that the financial statements are free. Is it right? Fine. Good. Obviously. So big chapter. I didn't realize that this chapter is audit planning. Focus on audit planning. Okay. Tomorrow I will ask. See the thing. Tomorrow I will ask through WhatsApp some questions on audit planning only. Fine. You can refer. You can refer audit planning. I have posted everything on OneDrive. If you by the time we complete it, I think I will post the recordings also. Okay. Anything you have the things, just focus on that. Inshallah, it will be done. Fine. Now come back to the question paper. Fine. Come back to the question. What is the importance of audit planning? State two matters that would be included in the audit plan. Is that state two matters? We go question by question. Okay? Question. They have given so many things, but we will take only two. Okay? Will not take any more than that. Okay? Well, audit planning is addressed. It is addressed in the planning and audit of financial statements. Fine. The audit plan will be developed after an overall audit strategy. It follows audit strategy. First you will have the audit strategy, then you will have a audit plan. Fine. That's very simple. And then state what are the benefits. What they are asking us? They are asking us. Is it what they are asking us? Where is that? Is it what they are asking us? They are asking us importance and two matters. Is it right? Importance and two matters as well. What is the importance? Importance is this one. Is that the financial statement? What are any two? Okay, any two. Make it a point. Is that any two? Help the auditor to devote appropriate attention to important areas. You select. Is it right? Now, when you are doing like this, is it right? You be very flexible. Okay. Help the auditor identify on a timely basis. Some way there, assessing the selection of engagement team members with appropriate level of capabilities and competence. Is it right? You have to manage the time also. Is it right? You have you have to facilitate direction and supervision of the team members. Whenever we need the support, whenever we need the assistance of the experts, we have to get the experts. Is it? That is the planning. What happens? Planning is you can devote appropriate attention, helping the auditor to devote appropriate attention to important areas. To help and identify, first you have to identify and resolve problems on a timely basis. It helps the auditor organize properly the audit engagement to be effective and efficient. Is it? To be effective and efficient. And it helps to have the engagement team members with appropriate capabilities, competence, knowledge and skills. It will facilitate direction and supervision of team members. And if there is any assistance, we can take in coordination with the auditor. You have to write any two. What happens? What they say? How it is going to be? What is the question? It says. Question it says. Any two matters that will be included in the audit plan. Is there any two matters that has to be included in the audit plan as such? The following examples of matters that can be included. Is it right? These are the matters that can be included in the audit plan. Okay. Any two. Okay. Now, what happens? Simply a description of the nature, timing, and extent of assessment procedures. Fine. Simplest of the simplest, is right? This would include what we are talking about, the inherent risk, audit risk, is it right? What is the concept of audit risk? Audit risk consists of what? Audit risk consists of three different elements. Is it right? You have the inherent risk, you have the control risk, you have the deduction risk. In the deduction risk, you have the sampling risk and you have the non-sampling risk. Is it right? I will just make sure that once you are doing this, anything relevant, I will put there. Okay? This will include the assessment of inherent risk and control risk, both at the entity and the assertion levels. Okay? At the assertion levels. An important element of the plan would be understanding and assessing the control environment. This is where it talks about, is it right? Why we are concerned about the planning is we want to understand and assess the environment control, whether internal controls are there in place or not. Is it right? Control environment is nothing but internal controls. Is it right? That's what you can put. This would include the explanation on the decisions, audit procedures required to be carried out in the engagement in order to comply with the international standards of auditing. Is it right? A description of nature, timing, and extent of planned procedures, is it, in terms of each material class of transactions, balances, and disclosures. Fine. This is a general. Now you can understand what is the purpose of audit planning, importance of audit planning, what are the items to be included in audit planning, and what are the matters to be included in the audit plan. Is that what it says? 1 minute. We have to 1 minute. They say that what is importance of audit planning and what are the matters. Is it right? I will. Is it right? Importance. It covers all these things. Is it right? Is it importance? And these are the matters. Fine. Next. We have done sales and receivables. Is it right? We have done sales and receivables. Fine. What they are asking us is that these are the two things. Is it right? These are the two things. Is it? They are saying that describe two procedures to ensure that the sales statistics kept the company may be relied upon, and 3 substantive tests you should perform. The royalties charge is accurate and complete about the objective of each test. Okay, 3 means the three substantive procedures you should perform. Okay, stating the objective of each test. Now, first we will cover this. Is it right? We will read this. What we have to see, what are the 2 procedures to be used to ensure? Is it right? This is very important. These are 2 procedures used to ensure that the sales are accurate. We can rely on that. Okay. This is the entity, understanding the entity. The Redburn, publisher and producer of books and poetry, has been a client of your firm, chartered certified accountants for a number of years. The manager is overall in charge of the audit, discussing the audit plan with the audit team. We are a member. Prior to commencement of the work, the audit manager informed the team, among other things, that there has been a growing interest in the poetry and reputation publishing poets who are still unknown. Fine. Now we have to make sure that which statistics you can rely upon. Is it right? Contracts with the poets state that they are given a royalty of how much? 10% on sales. Free copies of the books are provided to the poets, and some organizations have copyright libraries, such as reviewers and teachers, lecturers. No royalty are given on these free copies. Means they are getting the royalty. Is it right? They are getting the royalty. When they are getting the royalty, what is the procedure? Is it right? What is the procedure to be relied on that? That's all. Is that me? And we have to make sure that yes, this is the royalty. Means you have to make sure that you have to say 10% of the sales we have received. Fine. We have given the free copies. We have given the free copies to the provided to poets and some organizations. Is it right? We have given free copies. No royalties has been charged from some specific people. Is it right? This we have to make sure. The computerized customer master file must contains a code indicating the dispatch is to earn royalty for the author. The computerized customer master file contains a code indicating whether a dispatch is to earn a royalty for the author. This code is shown on the sales invoice and dispatch note when they are prepared. Yes, whenever there is a sales, is it right? Whenever there is a sales, a code will be reflected. Is it? A code will be reflected on the sales invoice. Is it? On the sales invoice. That whether we should collect the royalty or we should not collect the royalty. Okay. Again, we are going to have a audit procedure on that. Next. A computerized royalty file is held. All entries therein bearing the invoice number and date. Fine. We will verify whether we have the royalty file is updated. Is it right? It has been updated and completeness. The company keeps detailed statistics of sales made, including trends of monthly by type of customer and colleges where its books are recommended as part of course material. Again, we have to verify. Is that we have to verify with the statistics with the books from the month statistics to the monthly reports and monthly reports to the statistics, vice versa. Bookshops have the right to return books which are not selling. Any sales returns, is it right? Any sales returns, it has to be accounted. Is it right? It is linked to the sales and receivables. Fine. What they are doing, first we have to know the procedures. Only two procedures. Is that describe means you have to make sure that you don't write one line sentence. Okay, that's I'm very much worried about that. Fine. Now, is that what they say? What they are talking about? Is that what they say? See, when you are doing the things, any two. Okay, any two. Why I am writing is students will become a panic mode. That should we have to write all these things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, when they are selling the sales statistics, is right? Reconcile the sales records, is right, to the recorded sales to the accounting records. Is it? Now, what we are doing, analytical procedures. Compare trends this year than those with the prior year to ensure they are reasonable. Is that any two is done? Is it right? Is it? Discuss with the management, the analysis. See, this is the common thing, is that always make sure that discuss with the management. Specific, don't write general sentences, okay? I made about the actions taken as a result of what is the statistical information available to them. Is it whether they are complete, they are accurate, is it right? They would probably use them for deciding the reprints. Fine, okay? But most important, discuss with management the analysis they have made and the actions they have taken as a result of information. Is right? Now, what happens? We have sales returns. Is it right? Review reports from the sales staff. Is it? To ensure that information on college take up of books is accurate. Fine. What we are talking about? What? Whether, see, they are free books. Is it right? When you have free books, is it right? When they have free books, there is a chance that people will take free books and they will sell on price. Okay? Everything is possible in this world. Fine. Means you have to review to ensure that the information that if you are applying to the colleges, are we supplying it free of cost? Is it right? On the test basis, customer codes on customer master file. Is that people who are from whom we are collecting what? We are collecting royalty. Is that to from whom we are collecting the royalty? If you are collecting royalty, from customers, is it from customers? What will happen? You should have that code. Is it right? On invoice, sales invoice and dispatch. Okay, that's what we have to make sure. Fine. In short, is it right? See, if you ask me, is it right? Review the sales statistics. Compare. This is the every time we will come across in every case. Compare the trends of the current year with the prior year to be reasonable. Discuss with the management. Is it right? Discuss with the management. Whatever the specific point, is it right? Or the other specific point. Last but not the least, review the reports. Is it right? This is the procedures. Fine. Now, they are talking about substantive procedures. How many substantive procedures they have mentioned? Is it how many substantive procedures they have mentioned? They have mentioned 3 substantive procedures. Fine? 3. Fine? Okay. What it says? Appropriate substantive test to satisfy that the auditors and the royalties charge is accurate and complete. Okay. Now what is the test and what is the objective? Is it right? What is the test and what is the objective? First read the question. I am going back again to, is it right? We have to make sure. Describe 3 substantive tests and objective for each test. Is it right? They have substantive test you should perform and what is the stating the objective of each test. Is it stating the objective of each test as such? Is it right? 1 minute. 3. Okay? 3. What is the test? What we are doing? Compare the royalties charged with the stated sales income. Obtain explanation if the figures are reasonable. Means you have to test whether the royalties charges are stated as the sales income, and you have to, if the figures are reasonable, means definitely what is the we are not supposed to write all those things. We should know that whether we have charged the royalties, and royalties are as per the terms and conditions. Okay, the as simple as that. To satisfy the auditors or the auditor that the royalties charged in the income statement is reasonable in relation to stated put question mark, something with it. To satisfy the auditor that the royalties charged in the AND's income statement is reasonable in relation to stated. 1 minute. Compare budgeted royalty figures with actual figures. Variations are significant. Obtain explanation from the management. To satisfy the auditor that the actual figures has been, if anticipated, the management thus providing evidence as to their reliability. Review the sales statistics. Ascertain those dispatches that attracts royalties. This would be evidence that the royalty charges are soundly based. English is very I don't know whether there is some issues there. Fine, no problem. Take a sample of sales entries and check whether royalties are due in respect of the customer. If they are, that the entry in the computerized royalty file has been calculated at 10% according to the contracts agreed. These are detailed tests to prove that royalties were due on dispatch and the calculations of royalty are accurate. This is matching. Is it right? See what it says. What it says is that this is fine. Okay? Is that what they say? Take a sample of recorded sales entries and check whether royalties are due in respect of customer. If royalties we have to charge, is it right? If the royalties are charging, then the entries should be in the computerized royalty file. How much you are charging? 10%, according to the contracts with the published poets. Fine. Now, what is the objective of this? What is the objective? These are detailed tests to prove that royalties are due on dispatches and that the calculations of royalty are accurate. Means accurate in terms of that we are charging at the rate of how much? At the rate of 10%. Fine. Now, is that take a sample of royalty payments and agree to supporting dispatch and sales documentation, checking in particular that all dispatches are individuals or to individuals and organizations attracting royalties. This is a test to prove that recorded royalty payments have resulted from dispatches and sales attracting royalties. Fine. This is right. See what they are doing here. Is that what they are doing here? Take a sample of royalty payments and agree to the dispatch and document. What will happen if there is a royalty payment is there? Automatically it will be reflected in what? It will be reflected in the code. Is that code will be displayed on the sales invoice and dispatch note. Is it right? When it has been it will be reflected on the sales invoice and dispatch note. This is a test. Why we are doing this test? To prove that recorded royalty payments have resulted from dispatches and sales. Okay, means if you want to prove a test that where it has been that royalty has been generated through these specific sales or dispatch notes as such. Fine. Select sales for last 15 days. before the year end and 15 days after with the dates. See the thing. Whenever you put the things, this is going to be an example of what? Cutoff. Is it? This is an example. This is to check that the cutoff is accurate. Is it? Now you can understand. Is it? See, one concept blanketly it is applied everywhere. Only you have to change the flavor according to the scenario given. Is it? This is to check the cutoff. The royalties should only include royalties on sales up to the cutoff date. Means you are taking the royalties before 15 days, you are taking the royalties after 15 days to make sure that the cutoff is reasonable. Fine. Now this is also fine. Calculate the expected level of royalty payment based on monthly trend information for type of customers. What they say that only 10% of the people will get. Is it right? Obtain sales figures by multiplying 10%. Compare expectation to royalties and obtain explanation from management if there is any significant variation. If there is any differences beyond 10%, obtain. If any differences, you can write in your own words. Nothing will happen. If there is calculate the royalty payments at the rate of 10% on the sales, actual sales. Is it right? And any variation beyond 10%, discuss with the management. As simple as that. This test will provide that the auditor with evidence that there is a completeness and accuracy of royalties which has been paid. Is that? If you take into consideration, how many you got? You got 4. See, the first two, I'm not confident. Very simple. I'm not confident about 1, 2, 3. That is the reason I'm not in a position to, in what context they have sent, I don't know. 1, 2, 3. Okay? Fine?